Hi, I'm Mrs. Moore, and we're going to talk about character again. This time, we're going to look at character perspective. You can use guided notes or any note taking approach that you prefer. So, we're still asking who are these people, but this time we're asking how do these characters see the world? And how does that affect the story? And again, this is a skill that works not just for characters, but for people around you. Um, And for this, we're looking at the concept of perspective, which is their worldview, their perspective on things. So, like all of us, characters have their own perspectives on other people. We all have perspectives on other people. We have perspectives on our environment and the place that we live and go to school and work. We have perspectives on the events that take place in our lives, and we have perspectives on ideas that surround us. Characters are the same. All of these characters will have their own perspectives on these particular things and more. And if we want to understand a character's perspective, we're going to have to look for specific clues in the text. Much like we did before with description, dialogue, and behavior, we can map out a series of clues. Obviously, you want to note the character, title, work, and author, but things that we look for. We look for thoughts. What is the character thinking? We look for their manner of speech. That's how do they speak? We look for their feelings that are expressed and sometimes even the ones that aren't expressed. They can't say it, but we can figure it out. We look for the things that they want or say they want and also the things that they truly need. Do those things actually go together? Do they match or are they separate? We look at appearance, not just the fact that they look a certain way, but the appearance that they cultivate toward others. We look for what their strengths are. We also consider what their barriers are. What are the things that are stopping them from getting where they need to get? We also consider their values. What are the beliefs that they hold? What are the things that they hold most dear? We consider how they relate to other people. And we consider like the setting that they find themselves in. What are the surroundings that they are reacting to? Then once you have as many of these things as you can have, you consider what this picture reveals about the character's mindset and attitudes. And I will say, especially in a short story, you may not get all of this detail at the same time. You may get certain things more than others. That's okay. You don't have to fill out every little thing, but you want to look for as much detail as possible. As before, we're looking for strong, specific descriptors so that you can be very precise about describing your character's perspective, how they see the world. Are they satisfied with it? Are they just very neutral and they have no reaction? Or do they feel pity towards someone? Do they feel grief because something terrible has happened, some event has happened? All of these things show character perspective. And of course, this is a small taster list and not the full list of things. Gather as much vocabulary as you can. So, an example, we are looking again at Eleanor Vance in The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I am going to scoot myself over here for a minute and give you a moment to read. Okay, you're back. And what we're going to look at is, I'm not going to write it down. I kind of wanted to, but it takes too long. So, when we're looking at this, we're looking at what she says, her manner of speech. For example, she's very kind of babbly. She repeats herself. Thank heaven you're here. Thank heaven somebody's here. I'm so glad you're here, But her thoughts, she is trying to tell herself that she's not afraid, but then, she's delighted that there are other people there and she's not going to be all alone. Later, we get her worrying about about Theodora seeing her suitcase and seeing it as small and shabby. What she wants, we're not truly sure from this what she wants yet, other she wants to not be alone. And maybe that's something that she needs as well, to not be alone. The appearance that she has, she seems to be a young woman. We know the only thing that we get is her maybe trying to cultivate an appearance of not being as shabby as Theodora because she doesn't want Theodora to see the suitcase she has. Her strength, she's helpful. She goes and immediately, she says that you'll have to carry your own suitcase, but then she immediately runs and helps her with the suitcase. Barriers, I think the haunted house itself might be considered a barrier here. She's afraid, and this place is making her more afraid. But her values are such that she's staying, right? For whatever reason, she's staying in this house, and her values are that she is helpful towards others. So that kind of strengths and values can kind of go together there. Obviously, our two biggies might be over here: relationships with others. We're seeing her establish a relationship with Theodora. She's very friendly, she's very open, but not too open. There are things she keeps hidden. And then the description of the house itself. We get a little bit actually from Theodora up here about what the house is, but this is a very spooky, classic Victorian haunted house. So all of her fear is kind of put into context. That gives us an overall picture of her perspective towards the house. She's afraid of it, but she's not going to leave. Her perspective towards towards Theodora is, this is someone who is here and I don't know her well. I want to impress her, maybe. These are all things that are perspective. Why is this important? And you might have been asking that in every video up to this point. AP exams answer would be this: analyzing character is a key aspect of our AP literature exam. So you want to be able to analyze character in thorough and specific detail so that you can score more highly, especially complex perspectives. Beyond AP though, and perspective really plays into this, reading introduces us to characters, which introduces us to the perspectives of others. And researchers have discovered that people who read fiction actually develop more empathy, more critical thinking skills, and theory of mind, which is the ability to understand what other people are thinking. Reading literature lets us do this because we get to experience other people's perspectives. So the more we understand about what we're seeing, the more we understand and build this knowledge within ourselves. So, again, how do we figure out who characters are? In this case, we look for their perspectives. How do they feel about the world around them?